Holy mackerel guys, we just got some huge news out of Tesla China. Over the last night, Tesla announced its pricing finally for its made in China Model 3 rear-wheel drive long-range model. Alongside, it also announced the pricing and its plan to produce the performance made in China Model 3. And it has been breaking the Chinese internet for the last 24 hours. In this video, I want to break it down to you why this is significant to the Chinese consumer looking to buy an electric car, as well as what is the important things to look for Tesla investors. If you don't know, my name is Ziming, and stay tuned. Now, let's get right into it. There's three parts of this news that I wanted to take a look at closely. The first part is the pricing for the rear-wheel drive long-range made in China Model 3. Tesla China just released the pricing for it starting around 340,000 RMB after subsidy, which is insane. Previously, if you want to get a step up from the standard range made in China Model 3, you have to get a US imported all-wheel drive long range just to get a 200-mile range bump. However, you'll be paying a 50% premium because that car starts around 440,000 Chinese RMB. Now, I know that we're not comparing apples to apples right here because the US made one is all-wheel drive and the China made one, long range, is rear-wheel drive. But still, you have to realize that this is a 100,000 RMB price slash that puts the long range Model 3 in a completely new pricing category, which translated to US dollars, the reduction in price is way more than $10,000. Looking at the competitive landscape in China for EVs, Tesla, by making the long-range Model 3 starts at 340k RMB, is putting on a huge amount of pressure on any Chinese electric vehicle startups. No matter you're NIO, XPeng, or BYD, if you want to move any units going forward, you pretty much have to cut the prices on the higher end vehicles that you sell. Practically have to sell at zero, even negative margins. I mean, this is not looking good for NIO since their margins are already at 0 to negative. They cannot afford a price cut like Tesla does because frankly, Tesla has a much lower cost of production, especially if you go down the supply chain into the cost of batteries. Another huge part of this news is the fact that the 340k RMB Model 3 will have a 660 kilometers of range. If you just do a little math, a lot of people might be surprised that this is much higher than the rated range for a long-range Model 3 produced in the US at around 400 miles. In the real world, my prediction will be that even with ideal weather condition as well as conservative driving habits, you're looking at probably the mid to high 500 kilometers of range, which is still pretty amazing and industry leading for electric cars. Now, I'm just purely speculating here because on one hand, you have the fact that the made in China Model 3 are using batteries sourced from CATL, which is slightly less efficient than the US made Panasonic batteries. But on the other hand, this is a rear-wheel drive. And from what we know, the rear-wheel drive long range has always had more range than the all-wheel drive that the US only offers. So I would expect this made in China rear-wheel drive Model 3 will have this very similar range, if not a little bit more, compared to the US made all-wheel drive model. I think with Model 3 at this price in China, we're going to see also a huge market share grab from the traditional OEMs that are making entry-level luxury cars. We're talking about BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and Lexus. They should watch out because it wouldn't surprise me that a year or two down the line, the Model 3 will be putting out numbers that are dominating like they did in the US. Now, moving on to the second piece of news, which is the pricing for the made in China Standard Range Plus Model 3 that starts at 300,000 RMB. This is extremely interesting because with only 40,000 RMB of a price difference, you're getting a 200-mile range increase and a premium interior, which includes a way better sound system, as well as rear heated seats. Now, a lot of people were expecting Tesla China to lower the price of Standard Range Plus from 300k to around 280k or even 270, but from what we're seeing now, they're clearly using the 300k for the SR Plus as an anchor price to encourage people to buy the higher margin and higher price rear-wheel drive long-range made in China Model 3, which I think is brilliant. It seems like a no-brainer to pay 40 grand more for such a significant upgrade. Now, this is a chart breakdown of what model Tesla sold in the past month of March. You can see that the SR Plus took up a huge percentage of the Model 3 sold in China. And my prediction in China will be, going forward, the long-range rear-wheel drive model will actually become the most popular model, accounting for at least 50%. Now, what that means for investors, we'll talk more in just a bit. The last piece of nugget that Tesla snuck into this news is the announcement and the pricing for the performance made in China Model 3 at merely 420k RMB. Furthermore, this is a price before subsidy. So after subsidy, I would say you might be getting it just under 400k. This is pretty insane when you think about you're getting a performance Model 3 with 3.4 0 to 60 and more than 500 kilometers of rated range at a lower price than the previous regular all-wheel drive model. It seems pretty nuts for me to say this, but if you just look at the competitive segment for each version of the Model 3, the performance model seems to have the best value. Now, I'm taking you through the ordering page in Tesla China. An interesting note is that in the US, the free color was switched to the Pro White, and it seems like in China, the free color is still the solid black, with each of the other colors at around $1,000 of add-on. Interesting. There's also only black interior available. I think that's just something to further help Tesla lower the cost and deliver these vehicles at a higher margin or lower price. As you can see with the long-range rear-wheel drive Model 3, you pretty much don't have to do any add-ons and just take out a fantastic drivable car at that 340k price straight. If you have never invested and wanted to start right now, you should really check out the link down below to download Cash App and start investing with any amount right away. With fractional shares, you can buy your favorite companies, even Amazon, at $10 or even $1 increments if you want. Well, why is this significant to investors? Because smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you enjoy this. Jokes aside, it's funny that Gally at Hyperchange literally just a day ago made a video about how Tesla China can potentially deliver more than 200,000 vehicles for the whole year of 2020. At first, I was like, no way. Unless we see an exponential growth continuing for the Model 3 production capacity, as well as no drop off in demand for the SR Plus, it will be very, very hard for Tesla to hit 200k. But with this news coming out, I'm getting more confident that Tesla has a realistic chance now of getting 200,000 vehicles delivered just in China alone in 2020. I've been following Tesla in China for the past 3 years. Every summer, I go back to my hometown, Guangzhou, which is one of the top 4 cities in China that has registration restrictions for gasoline vehicles. And every year, people tell me that with only 400 kilometers-ish of range for the SR Plus, only for people who have another gasoline vehicles in their household. And if you want an EV to be your only vehicle, a lot of people are looking at that 600 kilometers plus of a range. Moreover, not only do I think the 340k long-range Model 3 is going to open up new market segments, it's also going to take volumes away from the made in China SR Plus Model 3, which means that higher sales ASP, assuming the same unit capacity coming out of the factory, as well as higher margin. I mean, it's very realistic that we're looking at 25 or even 30% of gross margin in these China-made Model 3 compared to the average out around 19% of gross margin in the US-made Model 3s. Now, looking at more near term, this also informs us on how many cars Tesla will deliver in Q2 of 2020. Because if you look closely on Tesla China's website, you will see that the delivery for the long-range made in China Model 3 won't start until June of 2020, which means that a lot of potential customers for the SR Plus Model 3 in April and May will actually change their order to wait for the long range in June, which means that Tesla China may deliver a lot less Model 3s in April and May than previously expected. So Adding it on top of the lockdown and situations going on in North America and Europe, I would say that expect a very, very ugly number for a Q2 delivery. I'm looking at only around 40 to 60K deliveries, which will be way lower than even the past quarter. In my opinion, it would be a huge surprise if they exceed 60K in vehicle delivery of Q2. Lastly, for investors, I think this also informs the likely pricing for the made in China Model Y long range. And I'm looking at either 350 or 360K RMB. I mean, the Model Y at that price will sell like gangbusters in China, simply because the crossover SUV segment, it's a much bigger segment than the sedan market in China. Now, what am I doing with my Tesla positions? Wait, let me check the stock price right now. I mean, it is another moment you wish you bought it more just a week ago. I mean, if the stock price doesn't shoot up above 600 when the market opens on Monday, I might just, add a few more shares to my existing position. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. Comment down below on what you want to see next and share this video to your friends. See you in the next one.